I'm here with Dr. Brynn Winegard, brain science expert. Brynn, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Kristine.
So many of us are familiar with The Secret and law of attraction. How does your research kind of fall into that?
Yeah, it's such a great question. So my research looks at business science and brain science and merges the two. And so one of the, of my 5 keynotes, the brain science secrets of success, is really about, my joke is that it's sort of like The Secret, but using neuroscience instead of the law of attraction or religiosity. And so it's really about how to understand the black box of your brain and really get in there in order to be able to use it better toward your own personal and professional successes.
Super interesting. So can you give an example of how we can harness this power?
Yeah, so I mean, there's lots, right? I have 6 secrets. I won't go into all of them today with you, but the major things are that a lot of what you're processing, most of your processing is subconscious. So about 80% of your brain is subconscious, and 15% is non-conscious, which only leaves about 5% that's conscious, right? And so what people are often surprised to find out is how subconscious their brain really is, and therefore how much processing is not being done at a conscious level, which really is good news. It means that you have this 95% that you're not used to tapping into that you have at your disposal. And so that's kind of the first lesson. And then, secondly is this idea that what we really believe, we become. And so what as I go through all the 6 brain science secrets of success, I really talk about how it is that you can induct your brain to have better feeling and to be more believing of the things that you want to have happen and manifest in your life. So whatever it is you're looking to be more successful at, you have to ultimately understand these brain science principles and then put them to work for you. Okay,
and you talk a little bit about the language of the brain. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so most people think that the language of the brain is language, and it isn't. The language of the brain is mostly visual, so 1/4 of all of your neural processing is for visual cues and images and visual cortices, we say, which means that your brain is very largely attuned to things that we think, and so we're actually sort of bilingual. We're constantly putting what is in words into images and images into words, and so when we try to envision a goal or something that we want to achieve, it's best to think of the image of all of that rather than the words that represents. And the second is that, so the language of the brain is firstly visual and secondly it's emotional. So it really doesn't matter what you think. And my example sometimes is it doesn't matter that you think, that you should run a marathon. It matters what you feel, which is often that we don't want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever, right? And so the brain really does work with feeling over thinking.
So how can we use these theories and the scientific method to achieve our goals or to become successful?
Yeah, so I mean, firstly is to follow the 6 steps, which are part of the keynote. That's part of the magic of coming to the live show. But, truly is to be a lot more mindful about the fact that despite what you believe, you are not using 100% of your brain to your own benefit, that you have ability and certainly room to move the needle, I always say, in terms of how much you're utilizing that subconscious brain. And so being more mindful and being more cautious of what you really do with your brain is very important, because you can fool others, but you can't fool your brain. Your brain really is a manifestation of what you actually believe and what you really do with it. And so that cautionary tale is really, part of what I bring to the table and part of what people can use toward being more successful and using more of their brain.
So you mentioned these 6 secrets. Are you able to share one with us?
Yeah. Well, the first one is the subconscious, so we already covered it. One of them, of course, is that the brain is largely visual. It's working on images and pictures. The next is that it's emotional, right? It's largely emotional. It's not working on any other plane other than emotion. It's largely social. We say social processing is king. And I think, one of the really key points is that we really are the company we keep, and so it's really important to maintain good company. They often say that you are the culmination of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with, and that's largely because this neuroplastic brain of ours is rewiring so quickly in response to the people around us. And so, I don't want you to go home and fire your friends, but the idea is that your brain is a manifestation of the company that you keep, of the people that you keep around you. And so it's very important to consider that as well.
That's very interesting. It's putting a lot of truth behind some of those old wives' tales or those phrases that we've heard. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you. Thanks, Kristine.